Well, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Turbo today. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Let's get into it, my friends, without getting into it too much. All right, let's try to make this video brief, under 10 minutes if we can. Here we are sitting just below a cent, $0.0078, at the brink of breaking. You're at the brink of breaking to the downside. Oh no, probably not. You probably don't go down. My confidence in that is great that you don't go down, because where you are in your daily RSI is where you have found support basically throughout this whole entire phase, right? And even before then. So, right, quite literally in all these consolidation phases, you've throughout this whole cycle found support basically where you're at now, if not a little bit lower. So if you go a little bit lower, okay, maybe you do. Maybe it's possible. Maybe it could happen. But if you were to go a little bit lower, the lowest I'd give you is probably these lows here, right there, like 0.00725, something like that. I personally don't think that you go that low. I think that you do keep this kind of succession of higher lows coming in, right? If you were to go a little bit lower, you could go a little bit lower, but still something that's a discernible higher low. Not so much what I would expect to be like a double bottom or like a triple bottom, but it could happen. It could happen. I mean, this whole consolidation range, if we compare this consolidation range here, then you moved up to this consolidation range here, your bottom, to be completely fair, you did interact with that almost every single time. So could you come back down here and interact with it again? Yeah, it's possible. So if you go a little bit lower, and a lot of these diagonal lines, they're meant to freak people out, right? Like if you break this diagonal line to the upside, it's time to get excited. Well, as soon as you broke that diagonal line to the upside, you might have gotten excited, then boom, it dumps, right? Or as soon as you break this diagonal line to the downside, it's time to get pessimistic and it's gonna drop. No, likely it's probably the same thing, just on the opposite effect now. Right now, instead of it being a time to sell, it's a time to buy. Is all I'm trying to say, right? I think that it is a time to buy. If you're looking at this like a consolidation phase like this, and it broke out already, which you could look at it like that, I don't think it's anything to worry about. Diagonal lines are not as important as horizontal lines, and this horizontal line here at about 0.0069 is holding well. It's holding fine. So, and then if we look at the past consolidation phases here, double bottom, not a higher low. This one here, you had a double bottom as well. So I'm just saying, maybe it's not so crazy. Instead of a higher low, maybe if you do go a little bit lower. Let's look at the 4-hour time frame. And again, you could bounce right here, man. You could bounce right here. The daily RSI, you're at the same areas you bounced every single time. But let's look at the 4-hour time frame. Higher lows in the RSI, lower lows in the price. Nice. So you do have bullish divergence. That does gear you up for a bounce soon. Like quite soon. Like literally, if not now, sometime today, I would expect you to get a bounce. But you could move a little bit lower first. So let's see if you do that. Let's look at the 1 hour. Man, not helping me out at all. I don't know. Either you do or you don't. I'm not going to spend my time getting hung up on this too much, right? It's probably going to be less than a 10% move if it does move down. So anyways, let's talk about the upside. Turbo. Enough of the possibilities. It might go down, but I was trying to answer that because I wanted to answer, is it a good time to buy or is it not? And if it was looking like it was going to drop down more than 10%, I'd say wait. But it doesn't look like it's going to do that, so who cares, right? Just get in. If you want to get in, get in. It's either now or never, really, because I do think Turbo is about to go on a like gigantic run. Why do I think that? Because it's in a consolidation phase that just broke out of another consolidation phase that's in a whole larger consolidation phase of itself, right? So you're about to break out of this little guy, which is also a bigger guy in reference to both of these little guys here. Does that make sense? It's like a tightening wedge, an ascending wedge pattern. But you can see the obvious two consolidation phases inside this consolidation. So you've got your pizza with your pepperonis, right? Pizza with pepperonis, man, you know what that means. It's a pizza party. We're about to get lit and go to the skies, break through the roof. Turbo is likely going to see new all-time highs by the end of February, if not even by the end of January. Where I expect it to go would be anywhere from about 2.1 cents to about 3 cents, maybe even as high as 4.7 cents by the end of February. Personally, though, I would stick more to that 2.1 cent to 3 cent area personally. This might be for a later date, something in like April, May, or even beyond that. But I do think that it goes higher in time. I want to look and see if anything else agrees with this fib here. We take a high here. We take a low there. 1886. That lines up very well with the 1.6. Beautiful, bro. If we didn't even have this right here, you take this away. The next fib level, right? Where do you go? You went from your 100, your 1272 down to your 100, then to your 1414 to your 1272. Now you go to your 1618. It's picture perfect Fibonomics right here, man. Like quite literally, undeniable, zero doubt in my head. That's your next target, 3.17 cents. That's your next target, okay? And from the relative fib here, from this more relative fib, right, the high to low on your bottom pepperoni here of this overall pizza slice, that 1886 to 200 level splits the 1618 perfectly, or the 1618 splits that perfectly. So no doubt in my mind, Turbo will be worth more than 3 cents, if not just under 3 cents, but likely more than 3 cents by the end of February. How much is that, man? How much of growth is that? What's the price right now? That's right. If I can get it right. Come on, buddy. Come on, man. There we go. All right, there we go. That puts it at, man, it's like a 3, almost, it could do a 4x, which is crazy. So if we expect Turbo to do a 4x, then that would imply that we would expect Turbo USD to outperform the others chart, right? So if this chart that I'm about to pull up looks bullish, that would agree with what we just said, essentially, right? Kind of looks bearish. Kind of looks like an inverse head and shoulders, actually. Let's see. Or head and shoulders, not inverse. It's regular verse, not inverse. Let's look at the daily. And you know the RSI doesn't help us. Maybe we should look at it with others to Turbo. It'll be inverse, but that's okay. Others, Turbo, USD, crypto, and then others here. So now if this is bullish, that's bad for Turbo. If it's bearish, that's good for Turbo, right? So let's look at this. A little bit different of a chart for whatever reason. I don't know why. Oh, here's that head and shoulders right there. Right there it is, right there. But it's an inverse head and shoulders now, which again, going up is a bad thing in this chart because that would mean others, the average coin is going to gain value versus Turbo. You want Turbo to gain value versus other coins. And if it's to do that, this chart has to go down. In other words, the others chart has to lose value versus Turbo. Well, you do have, okay, actually this isn't a bad thing. I'm glad we got the RSI on here because you do have lower highs here coming down with higher highs in your RSI, right? And that, having this high here being higher than this high here, but your price is lower, that is a sign of weakness. So likely you do go lower. It is an inverse head and shoulders look for one. But for two, this is the others versus Turbo chart, so it might be obscure, it might not be held to the rules as tight. And then also beyond that, right? These even though it is an inverse head and shoulders pattern, it looks pretty perfect for one. You can still break out to the downside. It's a pattern. It's not guaranteed to go up that way just because it looks like a bullish pattern. But the RSI definitely does make me think you go lower. 3-day time frame as well. Yeah, man, you're getting overbought, right? You haven't been overbought in a long time, and that's what you produced with it was a lower high, and it's not a good thing. It's definitely not a good thing, man. I don't think you're going to go if you go higher. So essentially, Turbo will likely gain value versus altcoins, which is great. If you're going to gain value, I don't think it'll reflect exactly like this, but you probably do see a 22% drop. I don't know what that would reflect in. All that to say, though, guys, Turbo, it certainly does look like it will outperform the average altcoin on this coming move. And what I would expect, you're at $0.0078 now. I would expect that you have a move that takes you up to about $0.03, 3.1 cents or more between now and the end of February, likely even before like the 20th of February, I would think. So if that all sounds good to you guys, hit that like button, subscribe if you want more content like this. Thank you all for being here. It's time to get excited for Turbo, I would say. Like it's time to believe in the pump and start to see it come into fruition once we're back above like 1.1 cents. You get above 1.1 cents. Until then, it's just prime buying opportunity. But you're at 1.1 cents or higher, it's time to get giddy, man, because it's about to break out to new all-time highs. So that's it. Hit the like button, subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.